and I make you welcome. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television from our corporate headquarters in Lagos State, Nigeria. I am Henry Igwebike, and today we would be starting off with our newspapers just to see all that we have growing trending issues happening right there. And after that will be our main conversation also for today. Do well to be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can find us, reach us when you visit us at enterprisecvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. Very so honored to have joining us via Zoom is Olubenga Paul Ayanuga. He is a political commentator. Good morning to you and welcome to Enterprise Morning today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. And right here in our studios, we have Innocent Adoluba, journalist, public affairs analyst, and a development communicator. Good morning, Innocent.
It's my pleasure to keep on my starting set.
Thank you so very much for your time. Today, I promise you would be a great day because the guests that we have are really people that I think will do great justice to the topics that we have today. But let's start with the trend. Yes, the story coming from Nigeria, but this time around connected to another country in the sub-region, and that is Burkina Faso. As we have it, that the country that is Burkina Faso detains 11 Nigerian officers, seizes Air Force C-130 after unauthorized airspace entry. Mr. Bwenga, I'd love to start with you on this case. What do you think of this matter? Do you think Nigeria is becoming too comfortable because they had made an inroad into Benin? They now feel they have more than enough gusto to get into the sovereign nation of Burkina Faso. What's your take on this?
No. It wasn't Nigerian trying to aggress into Burkina Faso. Don't forget that the case with Republic of Benin is understandable. Why? Because they are our immediate neighbor. And you can't allow such things. I mean, the U.S. will not allow some things to happen in Cuba, for example. U.S. will not allow some things to happen in Mexico, for example. Not because those nations are not sovereign nations, but because they are immediate neighbor, and any threat posed to those countries directly affects the U.S. And also in the same vein, the government that was deposed in Republic of Benin were the one who called for Nigeria's help. So it is not like Nigeria just took the initiative by itself to jump into the country uninvited. No, our neighbor called for our help and we went there to help. In the case of this C-113 aircraft, it was the story is that the aircraft developed fault mid-flight, maybe on their way to or from Benin Republic, and for whatever reasons they landed in Burkina Faso. The Burkina government had every right to detain the aircraft, especially given the hostility between themselves and the entire ECOWAS region, and also given the incident in Benin Republic. So they will be feeling foolish to think, they will just let it go, because, of course, while it is not intentional on the part of Nigeria, but you may not know what is intentional or what is not intentional if you don't take preemptive action. And the fact that it was the Burkina government that came on TV to announce it shows to you that they are not really spoiling for a fight. They are only coming out to gain diplomatic advantage from this situation and probably also bring Nigeria to the negotiation table from the position of strength, on their own part. That's what they are trying to do. Because I'm sure that before they came on live TV, the Nigerian Foreign Affairs Mission or Nigerian government would have sent, a message to them via diplomatic channel to say, okay, this thing happened, but they don't want it to be something that will be resolved on the G, without it coming to public knowledge. And because they also want to show their strength as the AES region that they have formed between themselves, Mali and Niger Republic. And of course, if you check, they control large airspace, among the three of them, such that for you to even fly over the airspace now, It has to go through a lot of protocol to get it done. So with that, I think bringing the message out to the public, one, to show strength, to show that they are ready if any external aggressor think they can come from behind and get at them, and also to bring Nigeria to the negotiation table while they are operating from the position of strength. As far as I'm concerned, I think that the issue will be resolved amicably and the soldiers will be released very soon. But at least they have gained that diplomatic advantage already by coming out to state their mind that unlike the coup in Benin, where the people of Benin vehemently rejected the coup plotters, the Burkina people, the Malians, and the Nigerians are strongly in support of the government in those countries, be it non-democratic, but the people are in support. So it's a different scenario entirely from the case in Benin, and Nigeria is not intentionally uh, serving as the aggressor. Technical issues happen all the time. Okay, I mean, thank God that the plane was not even blown to pieces mid-air. Nigeria could claim that, they shot at us, and that would escalate very fast in a way that we don't want. And because that did not happen, they had to now take advantage of that, diplomatic benefit that we presented to them on a platter of gold.
Yeah, it's very well said. That was very well, put in place, especially fleshing out like the way you had enumerated that. Innocent Ajuluma, you're a political scientist. You understand, the politics of nations and how they work. This southern awokenness, if I might use that word, of Nigeria to its responsibility of taking care of the region, especially going by what it had made possible with Benin. Do you think that we are overstepping our boundary, knowing that we have internal issues that are more desirous of taking care of than going outside to take care of other nations' trouble?
Oh, well, there are cliches that are in existence that get toppled. Everybody knows the word charity begins at home.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Nigerian government seems to prefer charity begins abroad with regards to your juxtaposition
Yes.
of Nigeria's internal security versus an external one. The Burkina government in Bobo Dioulasso have told us that in their release, translated from French, that the NAF aircraft lacks authorization over their airspace.
So it wasn't like Mr. Gbenga had stated that there was a technical error or issue that happened and it mistakenly saw itself in the airspace of the Burkina base.
That's the source I have here
Okay.
now. And I think it's from the Punch that it's a claim, as it were, that the Nigerian plane lacks authorization.
Okay, so which means it made unnecessary inroad into the Burkina airspace.
By the report I have here. So to that extent, I would say the Burkina government are jittery and may have acted on impulse. Take it from me, the Burkina government is one that is on the radar of the global community for different reasons. And in a bid to be protectionists, they cannot gamble on seeing any plane just fly by and fold their hands and look, not knowing which is which. If you look at the scenario in Benin Republic, for instance, irrespective of leftist or rightist argument, it is the voice of Jacob, the hand of Esau, or the hand of Esau, the hand of Jacob, whichever you say. Yeah. Nigeria is seen to be redeeming a deposed government in Benin Republic, but largely speaking, that smacks of French interests. Whatever we see with respect to my respected colleague Ayonuga, whether USA will not allow anything in Mexico or Nigeria will not allow anything in Benin, any neighbor by sovereignty can rule themselves the way they like. If Nigeria's neighbor was Egypt, South Africa, Morocco, Ethiopia, African giants. This is not how we would have gone to Benin and come back, whether they are our neighbor or not. And that's where they say you pick your battles. So this is bullying in the international space, Henry.
But they requested for it.
Sorry. Ayonuga, I will land now so you can come in. I'm coming, Ayonuga. Nigerians right now, with regards to the cry over Christian genocide, are also making requests. What are the responses, Henry? If we want to go by the logic that the Beninoa deposed government made a request, does the request legitimize jumping into a new sovereign territory just by a request from the other? This is not come over to Macedonia and help us, as was spoken to the Apostle Paul. So, yes, and then there is a lot of debate over the legality of President Tinubu's incursion across border, if it passed through all the judicial or legal routes, including informing the National Assembly, and then at least 6 hours after or 12, giving a speech to explain why this exigency took place to calm all nerves and bubbling waters.
Yes, beautiful.
So,
yes, Ayonuga, you wanted to say something. Please.
Some additions.
Yes. So I would like your engineers behind the scene to put up the map of West Africa. You will see that the northern Nigerian problem that we have is the same problem that happens because of incursions of the so-called militias from Niger Republic, some of them from northern Benin Republic. They are also facing the same insecurity challenge in the northern region of Benin Republic that shares the same border with Nigeria in the northern region. It is south that is largely peaceful, and the coup plotters alluded to that. And you see, Nigerians going there to help the government in power is not defending French interests. It is defending the sovereign national interest of Nigeria, because we cannot solve the challenge that we are having, the security challenge we are having in the north, if we are not able to curtail the incursion through the northern borders from our neighbors like Benin, from our neighbors like Niger. I mean, just I think last week or 2 weeks ago, there are Nigerians or Chadian soldiers who entered into Nigeria looking for water. And because they are Chadian soldiers, that issue was resolved, without much noise about it. Because we know that if the Chadian soldiers are effective in manning their posts on their border with us, it will help us reduce the insurgency challenge that we are also facing. If the Nigerian government were still to be aligned with ECOWAS, we used to have joint military effort with Niger and Chad before. It was when Niger joined AES that, cooperation was not as strong as it used to be. And you will see that there was escalation of terrorism in the northern region after that, after they joined, because now Nigerians can allow their border to be passive means of entrance into Nigerian territory. And you already have that problem with Niger. You don't want to have that problem with Benin Republic. So it is not about serving French interests. It is not about, it is about serving Nigerian security, national security interests. I am not a government spokesperson, but the fact is that in order to defend Nigeria's territory, when drugs were entering through Cuba into America in the late 70s, 80s, and early 90s, you saw how the government, practically dominated Cuba to ensure that they curbed the drug problem from there. The same thing with the Contras problem in Honduras in 87. The same thing with Mexico. Even currently, the ongoing battle between the U.S. government and Venezuela. So even if our neighbors were to be Egypt, Morocco, Ethiopia, like you have said before, it doesn't mean that we will not protect our territory. Don't forget that currently ongoing, size-wise, might-wise, Democratic Republic of Congo is bigger than Rwanda. But Rwanda, in order to protect its territorial integrity, go and check the map. Rwanda is a tiny nation. Burundi is a tiny nation by the side of DR Congo. But in order to protect their territorial integrity, it is even alleged that the M23 rebels are operating in Rwanda. As you can see the map of Nigeria. Now, check all those northern parts where Benin shares border with Nigeria. You will see that it coincides with around Kebbi State and I think Niger State, somewhere there. And you see, currently, the challenge we have with the kidnapping of school children in Niger State. So these people can easily move in and out of both territories. So if Nigeria does not heed the call of President Talon to restore his government, then on the long run, it will make our borders on multiple angles to become more porous, to become more accessible to terrorists who want to attack and go into our country. Please bring up the map again. I want to point out something. You see, the Nigerian plane that entered, what have you? Now look at that map. If you check the north of Benin and Burkina Faso, you see where they share space. You see that almost the entirety of our northern is covered by Niger Republic, and then a little by Chad, then the rest by Cameroon, then Benin Republic. So in flying through Benin, from Nigeria to Benin, there is possibility that the plane, because according to sources from our own side, the plane developed fault. The nearest emergency landing they could make or they could find was inside Burkina Faso territory. We are wrong, but just this last week, a jet crashed. Was it last week or even this week or over the weekend? That Nigerian jet crashed and the pilot was able to eject safely from the crash. And you might say, oh, they are buying bad jets or what have you. That is why the jets are crashing. But don't forget that this year alone, more than 10 US jets have crashed. Sometimes even in training practice, they have crashed. The same thing with Russia, the same thing with China, this year alone. So when it comes to air travel, this is a global challenge that people face. And when you are facing imminent challenge of a crash, the issue of whether legality of where you land or you don't land doesn't come. What comes first is to safely make your passenger, land and be alive. When they are alive, you will use whatever diplomatic channels or means to now get yourself out of that situation. And that is what the pilots did. So I must give kudos to them. They are Nigerians, they are defending my country. And so I don't want them to die unnecessarily. So if they needed to land in another country, even though that country has shut its air border to us and all the other West African neighbors, we will resolve it. It has nothing to do with we bullying. It has nothing to do with we serving the French interest at all.
All right, that's awesome. And sadly enough, while all of this is happening, ECOWAS as a body, seems not to be doing anything. They stand as spectators, and the crux of all of this matter is bad governance. Because if the rule of law is followed through, I would love to believe lots of all of this would not have happened. Yeah, you wanted to say just 30 seconds just before.
Briefly, can we have the map on again? Let's have the map quickly
before we get to other matters.
Yes, the reports. I want to thank Ayonoga. I'm referred when I use the word bullying. It's with Benin, not Burkina Faso.
Okay.
And like I said, if you look at that map, if Nigeria's neighbor is a superpower like South Africa or Morocco, we can't just on one call go in there. We might achieve a Pyrrhic victory or spark off an internecine war. Okay, if you look at that map on the border there, I've been to, as soon as you leave Oyo around Kishi, you will be in Kayama, in Kwara State, along all those borders into Benin. Yes. I don't think Benin insurgents, leave the map on the TV, I don't think Benin insurgents are a direct threat to Nigeria. What a pragmatic government should do is secure your borders. Not going to another country to quell insecurity there.
But the insecurity they are going to quell, all right, if not taken care of, might enrolled into our democracy. That's basically what it is.
I get what you are saying.
So protecting our neighbors such that this people might not spark another one in our country. That's what they're doing. Protecting democracy.
Hold on, Ayonuga, I'm going to land.
Yes.
There are people flooding in, getting their passport stamped, no questions, inside Nigeria. So what are we going outside to protect? Look, an airspace violation can occur on two fronts. Hold on, Ayonuga. When you speak, you listen to. There are controlled national airspace.
Yes.
And then you can do that without authorization.
Yes.
And as it were now, when it is an incident, you know, sometimes it's navigational or communication error. You can violate an airspace.
Okay.
When you are grounded and you explain yourself, you are let go for free.
Yes.
Anybody can have navigational or communication error. Mid-air, there is what they call the Bermuda Triangle.
Yes.
It's a turbulent place. So if you are in such a turbulence navigationally, wherever you land and you come clean, there are no violations. But again, there can be deliberate violations. You know, it could be a military, it could be a reconnaissance, it could be probing. And like I said, with the nature of Burkina Faso, we know them with Mali, with Niger, being protective. They don't want to take chances. And if you are the one, I mean, what would you do?
Well, different strokes for different
Yes.
folks. Mr. Ayonuga, you wanted to say something just before we move on to other stories from our newspapers. In 60 seconds, if you may.
Or maybe, maybe they should also bring out the map of the East African bloc, where we have Democratic Republic of Congo, Burundi, and Rwanda on one part. Just hang it somewhere there, and also bring out the map. Because all of these things, you need to understand it from the map. Yes, people can flood into the country and get their passport stamped. It's a different kettle of fish entirely. You are saying that we were called. You are refusing to mention who called us. A legitimate government, a legitimate president of a country called us, requesting for us to come in and assist his country. And in assisting his country, we are also defending our sovereignty. You are making it look as if it is just some random people. You see, when people announce coup, until they are able to constitute themselves legitimately and take full cover of the country, that is when they now become a government that, you can now refer to that we are tampering on their sovereignty. Now, the coup was ongoing. The president is yet to be totally toppled. And until it is totally toppled, he still remains the legitimate president, the legitimate person who has the right to call. And he made the call. We have answered. And you are treating it as though it was some random Tom, Dick, and Harry from the streets who called our president. It is not patriotic enough. It is not defending our national security enough. If you are comparing that with, people coming in through the land borders and getting their whatever stamp, have you forgotten that we have AFCTFA, we have ECOWAS that allow from people within those regions. And as we speak, there are many Burkina, there are many Malians who are still entering Nigerian territory, even though they said they are, because we still see them as ECOWAS, we allow them.
Okay.
Original government, legal government of the country that called us, it is not being patriotic enough. If you check, you are talking about might. I just wish that map can come up so that you will see how tiny Burundi and Rwanda is compared to.
No, that of East Africa, if you can.
Map of East Africa, East and Central Africa. That's where Burundi and Rwanda is. If you type map of East and Central Africa, that's where you will see Burundi and Rwanda. You see them; they are very tiny dots on the map, but because they care about their national security, they a nation's territory to defend their own territory in their own country, and everybody does it. I mean, it was because of it is somewhere around, I don't know whether you can see where I'm pointing to. That's where Burundi and Rwanda is, by that Lake Tanganyika.
Yes.
There, So, Russia invaded Ukraine, not because he wants to invade Ukraine, not because he wants the war. because NATO was encroaching into Russian territory. And to protect Russia, they needed to take Ukraine before NATO comes to their next door. And that is why the people are blaming America and the European Union, who are urging Ukraine on in this war, because they will never allow it. They will never accept it. You know, and all over the world, people do that all the time. So for me, the Nigerian government is not wrong on this one. Now, see that map beside Tanzania, beside Burundi and Rwanda, and you see the DRC. If that map goes tilts much to the to the Central Africa, you will see how big Burundi, Democratic Republic of Congo is compared to this tiny Rwanda. But tiny Rwanda is giving them a heck of a trouble, because it is alleged that they are the ones sponsoring the M23 rebels. And if you have been following the international activities on the Central African to East African region, you will see that there is a very big trouble brewing in Sudan, in you see how big Democratic Republic of Congo is. You see, compare it to Rwanda. So when you are talking about because of our size or because of we are giants of Africa, I don't think that comes in at all. If a tiny nation like Rwanda will defend its territory and even cause kasala in sorry for the use of in Democratic Republic of Congo as big as it is, then I don't think your argument is right. Out Nigeria first, and in putting Nigeria first, yes, they are right to go into Benin Republic.
All right. That's awesome. I would love us, because we can go on and on this particular matter. I just hope that
I just want to thank Ayonuga for
because
clarification.
because I like I said, I promised you all that this conversation today, will be worthwhile, knowing the quality of guests that we have today. But let's get into the matters happening in Nigeria for a bit, just before we call it a wrap for this particular segment and move on to our main conversation for today. Innocent Aduluba, genocide. U.S. lawmakers visit Benue. That's on the Daily Trust news paper. Do you think this would, in one way or another, cushion the wrong perception Donald J. Trump have for Nigeria, particularly on the person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his governance style?
You see, there is some interesting events in Benue. It has seemingly become the theater of killings in Nigeria, if you add to Plateau, as it were. Some of the news coming from there are not palatable. The bishops have refused meeting with the U.S. envoys in the government house.
The bishops in Benue?
Yes.
Okay.
They would rather meet with them in a separate place without the governor of Benue State.
Okay.
So for them, the governor, the number one representative of the people of Benue, is not emblematic of the true picture of what's happening in Benue. And so that rift is already having the conversation pigmented. The governor is recalled to have come out to say there is no Christian genocide or genocide of Christians in Benue. That had not been well regurgitated by the College of Bishops in Benue. The envoys are there, all right. But the bishops have, if the meeting is in government, meet with the governor. When you are done, meet with us.
So this will further exacerbate the issue, isn't it?
You see, I don't talk sweet. Where votes count.
Yes.
Where votes count. No miracle of beavers and because you left one party to the other, your victory is automatic. Where votes count, things like these are daily reducing the winning chances of Governor Hyacinth Alia come 2027. Things like this are daily reducing the winning chances of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu come 2027. When you have issues unresolved that make people mourn, that makes your land bleed, and you treat it with trivialities, grammar, sugarcoating, where votes count, you are not prioritizing securing lives of your people, and you are pushing them to look for another alternative. So I would like that this government, President Tinubu and Governor Ale, in their first tenure,
yes,
should draw the people close. It's difficult. It's complicated.
yes,
Should be seen to be bringing solution. Should be speaking fact in the afternoon, such that even with the tears, bereaved families are in thousands in those places. You can imagine that. So we are talking about a state that are in mourning, even as we approach Christmas.
yes.
So if the government can be seen, it's not easy. I'm not saying it's a wave of one, to be doing the needful. Beyond looking at your political gates, the people in their grief will love you.
Very well true.
They will love you.
Yes. All right, Mr. Ayonuga, let's speak to this issue. Don't you think it's at this point very sad and despicable that we have a U.S. lawmaker miles away made his stop in Benue and plans to visit Yelwata, where this heinous crime happened? 200 lives were taken, and we did not see Senate President Godswill Akpabio and his team even make a one-stop visit to this same place in their area of jurisdiction called Nigeria. What's your take on this?
Well, that is not a new something. The only presidents who have consistently been humane enough to visit disaster region in Nigeria is President Olusegun Obasanjo. We can't blame Yaradua because he didn't spend long in office and his tenure was marred by ill health. Even during President Goodluck Jonathan, he visited some places, but most of the time when the Chibok girl issue happened, it was first and foremost denial for several days before they eventually agreed that, okay, it happened, and then they now started doing campaign after election, on that matter. So it is a terrible precedent that other bad people have set that they are climbing on. And of course, on the issue of Benue, me, personally as a person, I will not put any blame on the federal government's table. I'll put all the blame on Governor Alia's table. It is people like Governor Alia who makes it hard for me as a Christian to even be interested in going to church anymore. I was born in the church. I was raised in the church. I am the kind of person where morning service, afternoon service, evening service, you will see me in the church. But most often than not now, I only go to church when I'm free, not like religiously like I used to do. Because if we have a whole Reverend Father as governor, go and check the places where we have Christian pastors and Reverend Father as governor. Do we see any changes that will give you the feeling? The Bible says when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. That's what the Bible. Sorry for bringing in religion.
No, it's very, very so apt. What you're saying, the reference.
But you don't see the difference. I mean, recently, Governor Umueno of Akwa Ibom State gifted a singer a huge amount of money and made. I'm happy for the singer. I'm happy that he is gifted. But as far as I'm concerned, what are they doing for those who didn't come to their church, who didn't have opportunity to be in that large gathering? Is there any systematic, there was one mad governor in my own state some time ago, whom when a particular Nigerian boxer, won the international heavyweight championship, they hosted him, they feted him. Meanwhile, that state does not even have any boxing ring for at the state level, at the state stadium. They don't have standard and this is the madness that have been going on for long. And you see, the federal government will not come and do all those, especially in a country where states that used to collect 3 billion a month before are now collecting between 9 and 15 billion a month. States that used to collect 10 billion before are now collecting between 30 and 50 billion a month. So you ask yourself, where is the money going? I mean, even the new Minister of Defense and who has talked about it, he said that the peace we are enjoying in the Southwest and especially Lagos State is because of the millions and billions of naira that the Lagos State government, for example, is pumping into the security trust fund in the state. And all these people are just, I expected that now that we had a Christian, especially a Reverend Father governor, that he will go all out to flush out all these terrorists from every village in Benue. I served in Taraba, so I know Benue like the palm of my hand because I'm a Johnny Walker. I used to go where nobody sends me, to go and look for what is not lost during my NYSC day. So I toured the whole of Benue State. I know all the villages where some of these incidents happened. And, I also had I had an issue with NYSC. They redeployed me from Jalingo to Bisaula near Cameroon border. And I went joyfully because I am somebody who likes traveling a lot. So I know all of this territory. And I had expected that now that we have a Christian governor in that state, things will be different. So for me, before you blame the president, forget about, even if the whole of Benue did not vote for President Bola Tinubu, he just needs a simple majority to win. So he will get his votes somewhere else. Let us focus on the governors in those states who are messing up. Those governors in those states who are, because they want a second term, they rather prefer that their people should die, they rather prefer that their people should perish than to stand up and say, this is what I want. Don't forget that in many of the northeastern and northwestern states, when the federal government did not dance with their people, they set up local vigilante that were eventually absorbed as civilian JTF in many of those states. Go back to the history. You will remember that that's how the civilian JTF came about in many of those places. In fact, we had governors whom, when they arrested the convoy of one that he was bringing in to hand over to the civilian JTF, he said, if the federal government is not protecting my people enough, I am duty bound to do whatever it needs to protect them. But you see, all these lily-livered middle belt to southern Nigeria who will want to look the other way are the main culprits to be blamed. And I'm happy that the bishops used to attend meeting in the same room with them, because they are only teleguiding the U.S. delegate to see what they want them to see, to hear what and maybe not necessarily the true situation on ground. But on the long run, the president has cleared himself, has been able to smoothen relationship. And let's not forget that Donald Trump is not coming to Nigeria because he loves Nigeria or because
Are you still there, Mr. Yonago? Okay, I think we're having a bit of communication
going on in most other places in the world. Nobody is telling US how to manage his own home. But the fact is that there are interests. China is a big player in the Middle Belt and Northern Nigeria, mining rare earth metal. And in the economic war between China and US is trying to make sure that into territories where China is already established. So, and that is what is happening. And for us, there is a Yoruba adage that says, where two elephants fight, it is the grass there that will suffer. It's because the president does not want our country to be the grass that will suffer. He made an effort to smoothen relationship with US, and for that, I give kudos again to the presidency. But let the state governors in the states affected rise up to their responsibility. If we continue to have state governors saying negotiate with terrorists, or that we should sit down and discuss, those state governors should be brought out and flogged in public. See Governor Alia, returning for a second time in that state. I don't bring all the machinery from the federal government to man the state. Even within his party anyway, he is having a lot of trouble. They have two state chairmen of the APC in that state. One for, is this Suswam that is our SGF? What's the name of our SGF?
George Akume.
George Akume, So one is loyal to George Akume. One is loyal to George Akume, one is loyal to the governor. So he's having even internal crisis within the party as we speak. So I don't see him returning for a second time in that state.
All right. So we hope that things will get better in Benue State, to whom much is given, more is as expected, from them. as a Catholic myself, sometimes when we discuss some of these things and the name Hyacinth earlier is brought forward, or Bishop Kuka most recently is brought forward, for some of us we feel a little bit ashamed, because these are people we look up to, hoping that their leadership style will translate to greatness in their region. But unfortunately, politics has taken over.
I just want to say thank you to the visitors.
Yes.
There were 4 Republicans from Florida, 2 from Florida, Mario Diaz-Balart and Scott Franklin. Even a Democrat came from the opposition, Norman Torres from California, and then Riley Moore, another Republican from West Virginia. The American ambassador in Nigeria, Richard Mills, led the delegation. So I'm thankful for them. It can be argued that Benue is about nearly 90% of Catholic population. I'm sure this is why the bishops are in the forefront, including the outspoken bishop of Makurdi Diocese, Wilfred Chikpa Anagbe. All of them came. The bishop from Boko Diocese, William Avenia, was there. Bishop Isaac Dugu, Katsina Ala Diocese. These are the men who stood and say, no, we are not sitting. Go and hear the governor.
Yes.
I come back and hear us.
Yes, like I said, it's actually sad that we're having people miles away, hundreds of miles away, coming to visit the epicenter of the crime. But we have a tent assembly still deliberating on Natasha Akpoju-Uduaghan and standing on the mandate, unfortunately. But we would be back. Both gentlemen will be here to take us on our main conversation when we return. NLC sets a December 17 deadline as nationwide protest looms over rising insecurity. In a beat to Still Enterprise Morning, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
I can't hear anything from the studio. In case you can hear me from the back end, I can't hear anything from the studio. Hello?